Reja Bakh, I've worked in New York for over 20 years, and I've been in Shanghai for a few years, trying to do some really exciting, interesting projects. And we have been doing some really interesting projects, not necessarily about scale and big and how big they are, it's about how special they are. So to us, it's more about what we do is not how big it is. So it's really creating a good quality projects.
Internet startup, professional to the skyscraper for me. Comfortable. I think that was the message here. It's comfortable. Just keep track of the history of the development of the project.
I have to say the education was fantastic. The open-mindedness and the education was fantastic. We get to these schools and we're told, you are the best because you got into this school. How do you justify, just because somebody put that on the back of their name, it's a stamp of approval that person is good? Yeah, I think it's more of a stamp of standards versus approval of good or bad. So this meaning that if you put this name next to somebody's name card, this person went to that school, this person went to that university, okay, you're at that level, but there are many other people at that level. You need to become next level up. So that's the question I had is, it's a very personal journey that people have to go through. And it's a very famous thing that we used to say, the difference between, not a good word, but the difference between arrogance and self-confidence. Arrogance is when somebody tells you you're good, therefore you feel like you're good. Self-confidence is when you know you're good. That's a very subtle difference between the two. This is how I do it in New York. I cannot do it in China that way. Therefore, I'm gonna do it the same they do it in China. Then I'm changing who I am to the local standards, and what makes us different if we're exactly like any other local company. So we lose our international touch on the project. So the idea was, and it's a very subtle word, but it's a dramatic change. Instead of changing our way of working from New York to China, we adapted our way of working from US to China. So we have figured out how to find that balance between doing international level quality projects at China's speed, within China's economy, within China's market. So that balance is a very, very tough balance, and it's not something that can be learned in a short period of time. It takes a few years to kind of get an understanding and grasp of the whole process. Very challenging, I tell you. That was very difficult. So the whole point with TEDx is the fact that really bringing subjects that are really deep meaning to people's way of work, way of life. Is not just a business. It's actually something that we just really feel very passionate about. It's interesting that you bring in the balance between my talk from TEDx and my education, because this topic has been with me since I started the practice of architecture, since when I started studying architecture. And the topic actually for my thesis was Einstein's space, Van Gogh's sky. Einstein looking at the universe and the world, and Van Gogh doing the Starry Night, the famous Starry Night painting. So how does an architect, to me, is the perfect balance between science and art, and find that balance between the two. That exact middle point becomes architecture. A building is no different than a cell phone. I take this cell phone, which is a tool for communicating. I call you, I talk to somebody, I make an appointment, I make an email. That is a tool. If I design the most beautiful cell phone you've ever seen in your life, it's just absolutely stunning, beautiful cell phone, but it had no reception, and the battery only lasted for 1 hour, will you use it? Will you carry it with you every day? Will you use it every day? It's the same parallel to architecture. I can design the most beautiful building in the world, but it doesn't function well. It doesn't work well. It's not realistic in form. Would you then become sculpture, not architecture? So it's that perfect balance of design and function. But then that's academic. Design and function is academic. Then you have to go into the real world. So real world economy. So let's go back to the cell phone concept. If I design the most beautiful cell phone now, most beautiful cell phone in the world, and works perfectly, but it's $20,000. Would you still buy it? You may still buy it, but you won't use it every day with you. You won't take it to the gym, you won't take it to the park because you're afraid that it is too precious. So it's the balance of those three, economics, function, and design, essentially that's what it comes down to architecture. That's what it comes down to.